ABC reporter Philippa McDonald knew all three of the ABC employees who are believed to have been killed in that chopper crash in South Australia, and she joins us now from Sydney. Philippa, good morning. It's a hard morning for you and I, both of who have been with the ABC for many years and have known all three men. It's going to be a very difficult day indeed, isn't it?
Yes, look, there's just an absolute air of shock and disbelief and extreme distress among ABC employees around the country. They were very, very well-loved men, and I think most people in newsrooms around the country have had some experience of working with them. Gary Ticehurst, a chopper pilot, Paul Lockyer, one of our veteran journalists, and John Bean, one of the most talented cameramen the ABC has.
And the grief, the pain at the ABC, Philippa, has been felt right at the top of the corporation.
Yes, exactly. The managing director, Mark Scott, has been on site at the ABC here in Sydney all night waiting for developments on this crash, and he spoke to us a short time saying it was the saddest of days for the ABC.
It's been the longest of nights, and we fear it's going to be the saddest of days. We're still awaiting official confirmation out of South Australia on the death of our colleagues, but we know the ABC chopper is down. We know that police are at the scene. We know that bodies have been found, and we fear it's going to be a very sad day with the loss of these three outstanding colleagues, each of whom had served over 2 decades here at the ABC.
Philippa, like a lot of us, you had the privilege of working with all three men. What were they like in your dealings?
Well, Gary Ticehurst, the ABC's chopper pilot, the chief pilot, for more than 20 years was larger than life. He was a wonderful chopper pilot who really, you know, you could experience the joys of flying and the filming that you could do from the chopper with the ABC's chopper pilot, Gary Ticehurst, at the controls was just incredible. He was a very generous man, a kind man, and he knew us all by name and knew all our stories, and he was a wonderful, wonderful pilot and known throughout Australia. Every time you'd land at a regional airport, everyone knew Gary. Paul Lockyer was a real people's person and reached out to people all over the country, and some of the finest moments in TV news and current affairs are Paul Lockyer moments, and that was made possible by cameramen like John Bean, who is extremely talented as a multi-award winner, and all his colleagues in Brisbane who I was speaking to this morning say he was so loved and such a pleasure to work with. Now, as I mentioned, those fine moments in TV where Paul Lockyer could just take you to Lake Eyre and show you the magic of television, and this is one of his more recent piece to cameras.
It's an eerie sensation being in the middle of this vast emptiness on this huge salt pan. The only noise comes from the wind, and not a sign of life, not even a bush fly to swat away. Just dazzling white, flat dazzling white, as far as the eye can see, to the horizon and beyond.
Yeah, gee, he was such a magnificent storyteller, Philippa. Now this morning, tributes flowing from around the country for all three men.
Yes, all three men were greatly loved, and they gave so much of themselves to others. And the tributes, as you say, have been flowing in from around the country. Paul Lockyer, about 6 years ago, went over to Western Australia, where he was born, and he was the newsreader for a year. So he had lots of fans in Western Australia as well. And they included the Defence Minister, Stephen Smith, who's also a Western Australian, and he had this to say a short time ago.
Can I just take the opportunity of expressing condolences to the families and the loved ones of the three concerned, and particularly as a Western Australian. Paul Lockyer, of course, was a WA boy, born in Corrigan, just down the road from where I was born in Narrogin, started his career in the West, and a few years back fronted up for the ABC News for a year or so. So sad in the West as well. He of course, we all knew him. Very well liked, but most importantly, very, very well respected. So it's a terrible loss for the families and a terrible loss for the ABC.
Stephen Smith there. Philippa, it's going to be a very dicey day for all of us here at the ABC. Thank you so much for that tremendous tribute to all three men.
Thank you, Michael.